So, welcome everybody to
Yeah,
our webinar. There's more to life than thinking about yourself. And we're particularly pleased to be offering this on September 1st. Um, Nice fresh energy today. And you're going to hear, hopefully, going to hear something that really allows you to begin to make a shift forward. I think what Dr. Mark and I have seen over the last 2 years offering this subject as an online program is we've seen that when people lessen thinking about themselves, they actually begin to take action on long-held dreams. One of our participants really inspired us recently because she just wrote a lovely email to say, that's it. I'm just doing it. I'm buying a camper van and I'm going for it around America. Um, getting out of this small apartment that I'm living in and I'm just going for it. And it was just such an incredible example of just, lessening thinking about herself.
yeah,
And another participant, just starting to blog and to write and to show up online for her people where she'd just been stuck on that for so long, so many ideas, but really a lot of thinking about herself, and she was not able to put herself publicly out there. So I don't know what you're going to hear, but you're going to hear something that hopefully allows for your own
yeah.
freedom of mind to begin to take action on certain things, or simply to begin to feel less self-conscious, less concerned about yourself. And that, that in itself has a huge impact on how our lives play out. Um, and so we'll go into the content for a bit, let's say half an hour. And then we want to share an opportunity with you towards the end that is new for myself and Dr. Mark, and that we're offering in London next month. So stay on and be part of this and listen and get what you can here. And we're just delighted to be with you. So, Dr. Mark, where shall we start?
Hi, Grace. Hello, everyone. Man, so good to see you all, and a lot of you that I know and have talked with personally. Just great that you're here. Well, I think, we should just start to what really inspired us 2 years ago from Sydney Banks' words and what that opened up for you and I, and then for, the people that have joined us over the last 2 years with our programs. And, for all of you, that's what Grace and I have known one another for quite some time. And we were meeting this at one time to really see, from the feeling in both of us, what can we provide to the world, really, from this understanding we were both blessed to see. And, I had mentioned once again listening to my Sydney Banks audio tapes, and I was mentioning to Grace, I heard this once again powerful statement that he shared with a small group of us many years ago. And he had said, everybody has self esteem were it not for their silly beliefs. And Grace and I had a laugh, and then we just saw that. And honestly, the next second, we came up with there's more to life than thinking about yourself. It just really came from this inspiration that we felt when we woke up to the fact in our own way that we are okay, that we are just beautiful feelings. And for me, it was were enough for the fact that I think so much about myself. And I found out with Grace and with all the people that have joined us, I'm not alone in that. And So, so Grayson, I just wanted to share this with you today. The beauty of this, what it can wake up for you. Um, I remember just in our this past 4-week program we just ended, a member shared with us, I've been with you for 3 programs, and I've been focusing on the then thinking about yourself. I've been focusing on that. And I just woke up to the fact that there's more to life. I could look there. I could look into the space of there's more to life. And if really we settle down, at least for me, as I keep lessening interest in thinking about how I'm doing, more to life comes in. It's just so much beauty there. And as we've gone along, Grace and I have realized the innocence of thinking about ourselves, how we just learned that early in life, and it became kind of a second nature thing to do. I've told people I learned that in the first grade to make comparisons. A teacher for our learning math, put all of our names on a graph in the front of the room with pins in all of us, different colored pins for all of us. And how we did on math homework or test or whatever, we would move across on the graph all year long. Now, I wasn't at the head of that, you know. So when I saw a few of my classmates ahead of me, I started thinking about how they were better than me. And I don't remember exactly the thoughts I had, that was quite some years ago, but I remember starting to think, I'd start to feel bad about myself when I looked at that graph and looked at people that were ahead of me. So you're okay. I'm through with that. I'm okay with that. But it's just a story to help you all see that we just innocently learn to think about ourselves, how we're doing, regrets from the past, thinking we should and ought to, and comparisons. So it's just an innocent thing, and you want to wake up to that so you can begin to detach from that inclination to think about yourself today, to look at a social media app and see how a friend is spending a month in Spain and think, oh man, why can't I do that? See, so you can lessen thinking about it that way. But more, what I wanted to share with you is what that um participant shared, looking to there's more to life. Another quote that I heard and have been sharing with people this year, again from Sydney Banks, and I'm going to read the quote because I think it's just really touching. He said at one time at a seminar, he said, uh, you know, um, you do not, you do not know who you're, oh, wait a minute, I'm sorry. You're not who you think you are. That's what he said. You're not who you think you are. You're something nicer, far better, really nice. And that's the part of what Sid said, everybody has self-esteem. What we're saying is there's more to life. You can wake up the beautiful feelings you're meant to live in. Uh, there's more, there's more beauty within you now than you can imagine, really. And, the happiness you're looking for, the love and understanding, the goodwill, the well-being, it's already there. Again, were it not for how we're thinking about ourselves. And I'm starting to cultivate, nurture, looking more into that, believing it, welcoming it. And It's made for easier days. It's made for lessening um, expectations about how I should deal with the day around what I want to create in my practice, or how I should be with the people around me. But even more than that, that has awakened for me as I listen more deeply to these beautiful feelings, is you have a guidance. You have a guidance uh, that will that will lead you to these beautiful feelings, that will take care of you in life. Really, it's another thing that um, in times with Sydney Banks, he really shared with us. Now, you're not going to intellectually figure that out. You just have to begin to let yourself open up to that fact. In the principles world, the three principles world, it's called innate wisdom. But many, many spiritual teachers have shared we're guided. And we are. We have a wisdom that we have had since day one that really will guide us in our lives in finding more beautiful feelings than we can imagine, and helping us see ways to deepen our relationships with the people in our lives, and to really see possibility for our time here on earth, our dreams, as Grace mentioned. Those dreams aren't fantasies, they're coming from this guidance. Now, maybe not all of them will come to life for you, but they're really coming from being in these beautiful feelings. And it just occurred to me this past week, as I've reflected more and more on this truth, that in the past, this wisdom has spoken to me. It's been to me, it's been like a voice. I heard it. Um, and I can remember times I've heard it and I've overridden it because I think I know better. you know. and I come with some humility today to let you know Mark Howard's thinking can't match the wisdom of life, of the universe, that we are all a part of, that is there for us. I'm no match for that. Although all through my life I thought I was better than that. And I remember uh, my wife and I sold this home that we loved, and we had reasons for that. And I remember sitting in the empty house as all of the furniture was moved out of the house. And I was sitting there just before we left it, and this voice came, "Stop this. Don't sell it." And I overrode that, you know. And now I reflect back and I said, that's the wisest, one of the wisest pieces of life I was given, you know. And uh, I'm not in regret or anything, but I'm just sharing with you a really powerful example of a voice of this guidance that comes to me as a voice that is part of there's more to life than thinking about ourselves. And that's really where Grace and I are pointing to. Yes, in our programs now for 2 years and running, people are still wanting more of them. And that's going to continue. But we've also become inspired to dream of offering something even with more depth, because once you wake up to the fact that you're not, the only reason you're feeling bad about yourself is because you're just thinking these learned ideas. And once you lessen those, you start to feel these beautiful feelings that are our true nature. Um, People want that and they share that with us, how that's really guided them in their lives now. And so, Grace and I just wanted to offer this to you today, that you are more than you think you are, much nicer, beautiful, and that's there for you. The power for us is that it's there for you when you realize that the only thing in the way is whatever it is, the quality of thinking about yourself. Boy, if you quiet that down, you're just going to live in what life brings you today, the guidance in life for you today, not your ideas and your expectations of you, but um, what is truly there for you to see. So, Grace, I just wanted to spend some time sharing that part of our message, and just see if you had anything more that you wanted to share with people today.
Yeah. Well, I'm just so inspired, as usual, Mark, with just the way that you share, the way that you see this. And I love that we see it in different ways. And I just glean so much from what you're sharing here. And I think what I've come to see in the last couple of years, or what I'm really grateful for, is is just how less serious life becomes as we're not thinking so much about ourselves. Uh, Particularly when it comes to relationships, I think that was the thing that really struck me the most in losing interest in myself. Is in relationships, we take things less personally. We take things less personally when we have this freedom of mind about ourselves. And that to me has been a really big deal, because I didn't realize um, just how personal everything was and how serious everything was, you know. I didn't realize there was a way to run your business from a lighter hearted space versus a very serious space where, you know, you had to think about yourself a lot. Um, in my own examples, and some of you may have heard this before, but as I started to catch on to the difference between wisdom speaking and insecurity speaking, it really had a dramatic impact on my ability to show up. I was so self-conscious in the past that I would not even come on the camera. I was so concerned about everything needing to be absolutely perfect before I put it out in the world that my business was effortful. And long held dreams just remained long held. So there's something so easy about this, is that as we begin to lose interest in thinking about ourselves, as we begin to discern between wisdom speaking versus everything else in our head, we actually have a freedom to make choices and decisions that really are in alignment with what we're here to do and who we truly are. And so part of that for me has just been, yeah, just taking things less personally and being able to show up more creatively and more visibly.
Mm-hmm.
And as you said, Mark, more to life. Life just gets richer and richer because we're not living in our psychology so much. We're living in the experience of a beautiful life day to day. And that'll differ for everybody, but we all know that feeling of presence and enjoyment and no, not so much analyzing, not so much evaluating how we're doing. And so it is a richer life, a richer experience of life. And we've seen that in our participants, not just in ourselves. So yeah, that I just wanted to share that. It's like, wow, so much is able to occur from a feeling of enjoyment as we lose interest in ourselves. So much is able to occur from a feeling of guidance and easiest direction. I think the last time we spoke, Mark, with our participants, I was describing how as little as a year ago, I was fixated on my stomach. I had to get this bloody stomach down. It had to get the stomach flattened, and nothing was going to do but get that tummy down. And as I walked through the park a few months ago, what struck me most was I had lost interest in all of that thinking about my belly. I don't know where that thinking went. Well, I kind of do because we're in this exploration together, but I was living with so much less thinking about us, having a belly or a stomach, whatever we want to call it, like having what the world calls belly fat that you're not meant to have. And what a freedom. I've gone, this is just a very personal example, but like I've gone to the beach all summer with the Italians and I'm not lying there like comparing and worrying and despairing, and I'm not hiding in the background because my belly might be heavier than I would like. I'm just living in the enjoyment of the moment. And I've heard guidance. I've heard guidance about what will help the belly m- flatten. I'm not constantly on Instagram trying to buy all those pills that they tell you, take these pills, do this, do that. Like, no, because I can see, oh, there's a level of thinking you get into, Grace, about how you think you should look. That's all. And then there's guidance as we're not as we're losing interest in that, there's guidance. Oh, but this works. If you really want to do that, this works, Grace, if you want to do that. But what a freedom. What a freedom just to see more of this, and that's why we love what we're doing here, friends. Like Dr. Mark and I, we're also deepening and seeing as we go along. Um, it's of great value to us to be exploring with all of you because it's not like we're done, you know.
Mm-mm.
We're still seeing the truth of what Sydney Banks said, aren't we, Mark?
Yeah.
Far nicer, more beautiful than you think you are, you know. So I don't know, that's just what I felt inspired to share.
Well, that's beautiful, and I love that you shared about weight and how you look, the subtle thinking about ourselves, and I don't know if anybody escapes that, particularly here in North America with all the commercials about, uh, you know, now it's all these types of medicines you can take to lose weight, but it's always constant. and to live not that you don't get thoughts like that, but to live with freedom from having to engage them. So I love you sharing that. Yeah, I was thinking about when you shared that, how we, I remember talking to you one time, and I've also shared this with other people that were mentoring with me around, their body image and so forth, and feeling overweight. And we had a program out here called My 600-Pound Life, and I always told, it's always come to mind that when someone said, well, what if I just what if I stop thinking about making sure that my weight is such and such, And I said, well, I guess then I'll see you on the next episode of My 600-Pound Life, And everybody has a laugh because you're never going to get there.
Yeah.
That's just a fear. That's just that subtle thinking about yourself. Now, that doesn't mean you wouldn't have ideas about taking care of yourself, but it's not compulsive. It's not the pressure. It doesn't rob you of a nice feeling when you think about, oh, you know what? I could go a little lighter on the Rocky Road ice cream. That's what it is for me, Grace, and everybody, is that Rocky Road ice cream. I know I could go a little less into that. I know that, but it doesn't take me down like it used to, thinking about myself and how I looked.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
um, yeah,
It's wonderful that we can open up to a place of trusting ourselves. That as we
yeah,
lose interest in habits of thought, that we actually can really trust ourselves, and that we have that guidance that um has the perfect equilibrium for us. Sometimes I can get into thinking about myself in relation to, what I should be doing and where I should be by now at this point in my life. And how shouldn't I have made use of that time? There a lot of, and people can relate to that, I think, that this kind of constant dialogue of not being far enough ahead, or, not getting around to doing the things you think you should be doing. And that all just robbing us of beautiful feelings of living in the moment. And if we when we lose interest in that dialogue, there is fresh creative energy in the moment that allows us to action things, that allows
yeah.
us to create in the world. And so, there's so much on offer here as we, again, more to life. There's more to life than thinking about ourselves. So much on offer as we lessen interest in that. That's just as Dr. Mark beautifully said, learned thinking, habits of thought that we can actually have some freedom from. They won't completely go away. We know that.
Mhm.
I think it was Sydney Banks who said, once you've felt insecurity, you know, it's there. It's not about getting rid of half of yourself, okay? But it's like there's such an incredible freedom that opens up as we begin to realize that's not guidance talking right now. That's a different flavor. That's a habit of thought going on.
Grace, that's really a wonderful message for people, because the understanding and what I've come to see, and Grace and I come to see as we've deepened our own ability to share this with people, is that this doesn't mean that you all of a sudden stop thinking about yourself. These are habits. They'll be around, I think, as at least as far as I'm concerned, as long as I'm alive. But it's like the idea of like what Grace says. We have the power as a human being to recognize what we're doing with our thinking. We can see that. And when you wake up to the fact that thinking about yourself robs you of moments of nice feeling and guidance, let's say, as you see that more and more, you are less involved with thinking about yourself, or you just see that you're caught up and no big deal. You just kind of, I don't know, well, you'll do whatever you think would be valuable for me. For me, it just kind of get quiet until it kind of passes, or look to deeper feelings. But we have a colleague who reminds people about the fact that we can see that we're caught up in thinking about ourselves. He says to people, "You see this indentation in my forehead? It's from going, oh no, there I go again." And it's just an innocent way of like laughing at ourselves for just getting caught up again. But that really does lessen as we really tend to open up to the fact that this is just learned thinking, to compare myself, to think I should be better, as you said, farther along than I am. All these thoughts that we grew up learning. And when that lessens, what takes its place is happiness, enjoyment, compassion, gratitude. So
Yeah.
I love that you shared that, Grace, because it's really important to realize um, that these thoughts come along, but we can handle them. We get the freedom of thought to see what we're doing. And
Mhm.
once we see what we're doing, oh no, there I go again. It's easy to let go of the grip.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the beauty of what's on offer. I think let's just take a couple of moments to share with people about this exciting opportunity to go deeper with us in person for the first time, Mark.
Yeah.
Um, you know, because because today we've shared how this subject, this topic, really touches so many areas. But yeah, I guess let's just talk for a moment about our inspiration around meeting people in person, Mark.
Well, all of this is like fascinating for me, and I just love how just a talk with Grace now almost 3 years ago, we dropped into this moment of inspiration for humanity, really, that we could take these words of sit and they became our own. And so we wanted to offer it to people, and we did it. We've done this now for 2 years with 4 to 6 weeks programs. We've been doing about four a year, and it's just been beautiful. It's beyond our imagination of what we hoped would happen in meeting people, and all of us exploring this statement about there's more to life than thinking about yourself, and the beautiful, deep feelings that occurred when we were with people, and the insights about uh, what's on what's on tap, or what's on offer, as you say, Grace. Once we realize, truly see the truth that the only thing in the way of having a nice day um, is thinking about ourselves. And so we got inspired again, because people were saying, we love We love the online availability of being able to, and people from all different countries joining us, and all of us dropping into beautiful feelings of love and insight and realization. But people were saying, is there any way we could have something in person? Because nothing really um, can can give the experience of being in person for a day or two. Just to be able to be with people and share with each other and have the time to just hang out with each other, looking at and exploring this truth. So we got inspired. And all of what we've been doing is coming from that feeling in both of us, as you can hear it, as Grace shares with us, and hopefully when I share with you. This is a truth beyond just the two of us. So that's what we came up with. We decided to do something in person, um, and do that. Actually, we thought about doing it. We didn't think about it. We have it on tap for next month, and we decided to do the first one in person in the UK, in London, where we can have 2 days together to just explore together. What can we realize about there's more to life?
Yeah.
That we have self-esteem were not for our silly beliefs. What can we see deeper that allows us to go into life and just get guided each day and by what the flow is of life, rather than us getting in there to detour the flow like a river's dam.
Mm.
So so that's what I wanted to share with every one of you, that we just continue to come from a deep place of creation.
Yeah. And we invite you to be with us if this speaks to you. You know, I know some of you here are also working with clients in this area, perhaps, or are considering doing so. And so, you know, there's a wonderful deepening of grounding that goes on when you are uh, immersing yourself for a couple of days versus showing up on a webinar here or there, or perhaps a coaching call every so often. This this is the type of experience that really allows you first personally to fuel up, fill up, and experience what you need, but then universally to bring that to those around you. So, little bit of details. The event will take place in Golders Green area of London. It's happening the 4th and 5th of October. There's currently an early bird option plus a pay plan on for those of you booking by Friday, Friday the 5th. So I believe the early bird pricing is around £400 or two payments of 200 each. And you also get included as a bonus for booking by Friday, the online program that we next run, and that will commence in November. So you're kind of getting a little bit of a bundle there. I'll just add the link in the chat. Hopefully you can see it, but I'm not sure. gracefulcoaching.net/London event. And obviously, if you have questions or you have just anything that you want to share, you can also write to us directly. I'll give you my email address as grace@gracefulcoaching.net. But you probably have a sense in your own heart and your own feeling if this is something that you'd like to do. And so I'm super eager to have Dr. Mark on this side of the world as many times as possible, as quickly as possible. But right now we're offering this one in October. And I don't know when we'll do it again, but we certainly would invite you and encourage you that if this speaks to you at the moment to do it now. You'll just know. Thank you for being with us today. It's just been lovely to have your turnout on this 1st of September. And I'm really looking forward to going deeper with you. Dr. Mark, parting words?
Well, a couple of things. You could email me too at drmarkhoward@comcast.net. But the reason being together for 2 days is very powerful because so much starts to occur overnight that I've seen through the years of my bringing this locally to our communities here in the San Francisco Bay Area. That, and when I was with Sid seminars, that would be a weekend, that I realized something overnight that I wanted the next day to be able to explore. So that's also a powerful reason for us being together for 2 days.
Yeah.
Well, I hope what we shared with you today was meaningful to you. I hope you could take something that will allow you to really appreciate what you can experience if you could just lessen a bit uh, the habit of thinking about yourself. And I hope some of you will join us and I get to see you in person and meet you in person.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody. Lovely to see you today. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.